who's standing here today. Hold to arm bar. This is
Brett screwed Brett.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. And that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so.
Live Monday night. It's not Raw. It is WrestleMania Rewinds. We are live. Heat Ratio Sports. It's the Matty Daddy. Oh, and boy, oh boy, do I have a guest, guys. We're talking HBK. We're talking Flair. WrestleMania 24. But I've got Nick Deterding from the World Universal World Podcast. All things wrestling. Nick, welcome to the show, my man.
Yes, sir. We're talking HBK. We're talking Ric Flair. Dude, doesn't get any better than that.
Let's get a Ric Flair woo going. Woo!
Woo! Yes, sir.
You got Shawn Michaels. I'm not your boy toy. Hands off the merchandise. Anyways, guys, dude, it's been fun. Heat Ratio Sports, the new home for the wrestling mat. All your wrestling rewinds podcast will be coming to you from Mondays. From now on, we're going to be bringing life into Heat Ratio wrestling style. First comment, yo boys, what's up, Dan? What's the Dudley boys do? What's up?
There you go. Good old D-Von.
D-Bomb, DG baby. Dude, Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels. How'd we get here? Why is this your wrestling rewind of choice?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite matches. And we talked a little bit before the show. It's not the greatest WrestleMania match, but dude, it's up there for me. I love Rick. I love HBK. I mean, again, like I said, it doesn't get any better than these two. And for what it is, the match, the career, oh my God, dude. The storytelling is phenomenal. Ric Flair, yeah, HBK carried him, but dude, it doesn't, honestly, I'm going to say it again and again. It doesn't get any better than these two guys.
Yeah, and it's weird, too, because we're going back in our time machines, the DeLorean, to 2008, and we have an HBK, HB Sizzle, 43 years old versus Ric Flair at 59.
Yeah.
A 59-year-old professional wrestler.
It's incredible. And
Just
that's
incredible.
I mean, right there, you said it, 59. But that's what Ric Flair is all about. The wheeling, dealing. Come on, kiss stealing. You got it. Yes, sir. So again, did HBK, carry him? Most likely, but he's 59 and he was so many chops. I mean, we'll get into it, but yeah, I had to pick this one to review. It's just one of those matches, 2008 was a great year. I'm a Phillies fan. We won the World Series, and this match was just phenomenal to cap off the year. Or to begin the year, but still, again, the entrance, everything in this match, from the commentators to the ring gear to the slow pace of Ric Flair coming down. You remember the robe. It was one of the best robes I've ever seen. The fireworks, the glory. I mean, they call it WrestleMania for a reason. And this is the epitome of WrestleMania. Legend versus legend for a stipulation as big as a career. Woo! Again, doesn't get any better than this, Matty.
Well, it's crazy because I'm one of these, HBK fans of the 90s.
Yeah.
I think to the audience, we tried to record this before and my internet was shit. Excuse my language. Bear with us. But HBK, I think 96, 97, 98.
Yeah.
But when I went back and did my detective work, I saw Shawn Michaels was having, literally 2007, 2008, 2009 match of the year. So as much as I say, I was kind of over HBK, nobody else was.
No. And I mean, look at, woo, there you go. And look at Ric Flair, dude. The matches he was in before he retired. I mean, how many Money in the Bank ladder matches, how many different crazy matches he was doing. I mean, Evolution. He was going one-on-one with Carlito, Chris Masters. I mean, he was trying to elevate the younger talent, and, it all comes to this moment right here. Unfortunately, he, wrestles a little more in Impact or TNA, but right now we're talking about 2008. We're talking about WrestleMania 20. Woo! And it just, again, I'm ready to talk some Ric Flair.
Now, because we do wrestling, the nice thing about this wrestling community is we're tight. We've went on each other's shows. We've, talked territories. We've talked Elimination Chamber preview. So I want to give a shout out to our next guest. Next week, guys, we are going to get Bret the Hitman Hart versus Roddy Piper with the guys from Front Face Lock. Front Face Lock. Is this a Front Face Lock podcast shirt? Hell yeah, it is.
Yes.
Love you, brother. We love you, man. Great content. If you haven't checked them out, definitely do it.
Yes.
Ton of wrestling content. Now let's kind of set the stage.
Yes. Set it,
Ric
baby.
Flair, he's retiring. Or so-called Vince McMahon's like, listen, if you lose another match, you're out of here. You're fired.
Yeah.
So, Old Yeller, go ahead and lead us into it.
Yeah. There was a promo on Raw, and HBK, he looked like he was a baby face, but at the very end, he turned, I don't know if you want to call it heel, but I guess there needed to be a heel for this match, as much as the heel is nothing in this match, because you got two legends going one-on-one. It doesn't matter who's a baby face. It doesn't matter who's a heel. It doesn't matter who's going over. It's all about the match. So the promo goes on, and, of course, you got to bring up Old Yeller, and he brings it up, and HBK, what does he say? He said something along the lines of, what they did to Old Yeller, I'm going to do that to you. And you're like, oh shit, now it's serious. Now it's serious, because he didn't really want to do it. And it was great. You saw the promo. He didn't really want to go one-on-one with Rick. He didn't want to retire Rick, but Rick needed a challenge. And that was the promos leading up to this. I need something. I need to show you that I am the best still. I can perform every night, and truly he can. And he's, if he was able to wrestle, he probably would be doing it every night. But that's the gist, right, Maddie? What did you get from that?
Yeah, I mean, to me, this was a time where you feel like this is the end of the road for Flair.
Yeah.
So it makes sense with him being 59, almost 60. Yeah. Hell, if I could wrestle now, I'd be happy. But to me, this is just kind of it's almost like a sad time, because I've grown up watching Ric Flair. Yeah. And as I've dived into the rewinds as I get older, I have such an appreciation for the NWA, the Jim Crockett days of the 80s, the territories with Flair, Dusty Rhodes, the Horsemen. So
tear
to me,
in my eye.
It was the perfect ending to a career, at least we thought.
Yeah.
So to me, dude, and then Shawn Michaels, like I said, match of the year, 4 straight years. Yeah. At the age of 43. So from 40 to 43, 44, he's doing his best work. It's just crazy to think how talented these guys are. Yeah. Should we get to the main event?
Yes, let's do it, baby. Let's do it.
It is time. We talk main events. I figured it's Heat Ratio Sports. It's a wrestling mat. Let's bring in the big dog.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Boom,
Bruce
baby.
Buffer. That's how you know you're calling the shots.
Yes.
We brought in Bruce Buffer for the Wrestling Mat podcast.
Yes.
Let's talk this match though.
Yeah.
Because this is what we get. We get match of the year, match of the decade from the Wrestling Observer. So from 2000 to 2010, this was the highest rated match. Obviously, emotion is part of it.
Yeah.
So what do we see from the early stages of this match?
Well, you got to get the best thing that Ric Flair offers. And of course, the dirtiest player in the game. The match starts, and what does he do? He puts his hand out, and HBK's going for it, dude. Phenomenal. Pulls it away, does the hair thing, and you just did it. What did he do? He slapped him. Phenomenal. Again, the storytelling. It's starting from the very beginning, right after the bell. Ding, 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 handshake, and you're like, oh shit, we're on to something here. So it gets off very, very Ric Flair-esque, in my opinion.
And then we see some spots, we kind of talked about this last week, where we see Flair going to the top rope, doing a crossbody, with just pulling out everything out of his arsenal. Obviously, he's the dirtiest player in the game. The eye pokes, the low blows.
Yes.
But you see Ric Flair really putting his all in, because he probably thinks this is his last match.
Yeah, and you have to sell the story like that too. You have to make it believable. And again, Ric Flair and HBK in the middle of the ring at WrestleMania. You're telling a great story here, and you got to show the highs and the lows of the match. And of course, the match begins very slow, methodic, like you want to see a wrestling match, and then it picks up a little, like you said. You see Ric Flair doing things that you say, "What? Ric Flair's doing that? Why?" Because it's his last match. So what does that mean? Matt, listen up. Storytelling. That's what it's all about. You're getting an F right now. It's storytelling. He's trying to show the fans that I'm in it. I'm trying. I'm pulling off all the stunts that I can because I want to win this match. I'm not Old Yeller. I'm the greatest wrestler in the industry 16 times. And what Jim Ross says, I don't remember what exactly he said, but he says something along the lines of Ric Flair taught everything to HBK, but he didn't teach him. I screwed that up. He taught everything Shawn Michaels knows, but he didn't tell him everything Ric Flair knows. Woo! And I got it out second time, but still, isn't that awesome? That's the quote that, I mean, this is what you need. You need a storyteller like Jim Ross for this match, and you get him and Jerry. Phenomenal work, dude. Phenomenal.
When I feel like the emotion is a lost art in wrestling because everybody's trying to get their stuff in.
Yeah.
We're trying to get so many high spots. I know people say that all the time.
Super kick.
Yeah, or just so many like big moves in a match.
Yeah.
I don't need that. Sometimes I want technical wrestling. I want the pace slowed down to a bear or a armbar, something. Comments coming in. Vincent, thanks, guys. Thank you, Vincent, for watching.
Yes, sir.
And of course, Tim King, the King, with the Kevin Owens photo. The King is in, dude. If you didn't watch last week's, we went way back in time to Hogan Warrior. Definitely worth checking out. Tim does a lot of awesome entertainment as far as wrestling goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then Shawn Michaels with moonsaults. At 43, we see him pull out maybe 3 or 4, and the one that lands on the announcer table,
a botch,
and it doesn't break. Oh.
Yeah.
Just so many spots. Let's kind of get to the climax of this because it is technical wrestling.
Yeah,
it is a lot of low blows, dirty moves, and then Shawn Michaels is Shawn Michaels. But we see Shawn Michaels taking over the figure 4 a couple times, putting it on Flair. Kind of something I like to see in a big match like this, where it's almost like a spit in the face, but it's storytelling. We saw with Rock and Austin, where Rock did the stunner.
Yeah. Well, right here with what you just alluded to with the sweet chin music, he's getting up, he's gunning for it, he's gearing up, he's about to unload, and he stops. And it's like, oh shit, back to storytelling. And what does he do? Ric Flair, dirtiest player in the game. We've said it already. We're going to say it again and again. He puts him in the figure 4 leg lock, and it's just, wow. It's just like, that's it, man. That's what you want to see.
So we're talking figure 4 leg lock and the sweet chin music, a.k.a. the super kick. We see it all the time between the Young Bucks, Dolph Ziggler, anybody and everybody.
Yeah.
Which move do you prefer, let's just say, from these guys and then in current wrestling?
For these guys, I got to go to sweet chin music because that, when it was in its prime, one kick and it's over. Nowadays, I'm not going to get into nowadays wrestling. I want to talk about this match, but I one kick and it's over. As much as it's cool to see Ric Flair put it in, and the style and the profiling when he's attempting to put it in and he's doing the dancing and then he finally locks it in. It's like, oh shit, it's over. But with HBK, I don't know. It's just that shotgun reaction, the boom.
That's that
1,
knee.
2. Yes, there you go. And you said that last week when we tried to record this. He's patting the knee, he's stomping the mat, he's getting ready. So you're feeling it, the emotion, the electricity, and then boom, it's over. 1, 2, 3. So I would go with the sweet chin here. What about you?
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, man. I don't like seeing it now. It's a weird, dirty feeling when I know wrestling's evolved to the point everybody uses everything.
Yeah.
But I don't enjoy seeing the super kick now because you don't see the build up, you don't see the tune, the chin music. It's just kind of out of nowhere. Yeah. So not my favorite, but I can understand it with wrestling how it is. But I love how Ric Flair tells a story with hitting the knee, like working the guy to get into the figure 4. We got some more comments coming in.
Yeah.
Ryan McGann, there is only one super kick master, king of sweet chin music.
There you go.
And that's Shawn Michaels and me when I super kick Vinny. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Hopefully you don't.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Great stuff though.
Yeah.
Big time. Okay,
Back to the match, baby.
back to the match.
Yep.
So Shawn Michaels finally gets to that point
Yeah.
where he's got to end it. He's got to put Old Yeller out of his misery.
Yeah.
So feed us.
Yeah.
How does this happen?
Yeah. So there you go. He's winding up again. He pats, and we all know, as a fan, as a wrestling fan, the time is coming, the time is up, and it's time for, to put Old Yeller down. And you can feel it. You can hear the commentators, and it's coming. They pan and they show Ashley, Charlotte Flair, and she's, the family's there front row and they're watching. He does it. And of course, Old Yeller on his knees. Give it to me. Give it to me. I want it. End it. What does he do? He ends it. 1, 2, 3, and it's over. And it's a thing of beauty. It really is. He's on the mat with Ric Flair, and they're talking. He's, thank you. This is blah, blah, blah. I love this. This was awesome. I don't know exactly what they said. They probably said, let's have some beers after this. What the fuck do I know? What the hell do I know? But again,
don't forget when he's tuning up the band and Shawn Michaels,
I
balding
forgot
head,
the most important
he
thing.
flips
Let's hear
his
it.
receding hairline back like anybody would. And 43-year-old Shawn Michaels says,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I love you.
Boom. And
If I
then
had
he
a
kicks
cigarette,
him.
I'd smoke it. That good.
Yeah. Yep. And they pan to the front and you see Ashley, Charlotte crying. And, it was time. And it's just magical. As much as this is pro wrestling, as much as this is choreographed and scripted, it's really a thing
real.
of beauty. It's real to me, damn it.
Art imitates life, as we've heard in the past. And after that match, you get Batista Edge, or was it Undertaker Edge, Triple H, Randy Orton. So you get some good, high-profile matches.
Yep,
but
Taker
it's
wins.
Nothing like HBK and the Nature Boy.
Yeah. Yep. And just like I said, going back to the storytelling, I'm sorry, I love you. And, Rick's on his knees. And it really is a thing of beauty. And I would have to mention when Ric Flair was going down the aisle, Jerry said, no one has styled, no one has profiled more like this man. And to end the match with him on the knees saying, I'm sorry, I love you. Boom, 1, 2, 3. They're talking, they're loving, they're saying, let's get some beers. Again, thing of beauty, Matt. Thing of beauty.
All right, real quick before we get to the end, I have a couple questions that will go into fantasy booking.
Okay.
But let's hit Ric Flair first. I want you to give me your favorite Ric Flair. Of all time, do you like the 80s NWA Horseman Flair where he's the bad guy?
Yeah.
He's doing all these bad things. Do you like the 90s WCW Flair? Do you like this old Evolution Flair? What's your favorite Flair?
You know what? I'm not going to pick one exact character of Ric Flair. I think I want to pick a moment here. I'm going to go back to 92 when he won the Rumble. Did you know that was a handshake deal? He never signed a contract. He just shook Vince's hand and said, let's go. Take me on, take me to the top. Goes to 92, goes to the Rumble, wins it. And it's like, holy shit, all that shit with WCW, a handshake deal, wins the Rumble, and he's wrestling until 2008. He does a little in TNA, like I said, but I'm going to pick a moment, and it's going to be the Rumble. I mean, just 92. The backstage. Yeah, just the backstage, knowing it was a handshake deal, knowing that, this was pretty much Ric Flair's like, screw you, WCW. I'm a living legend. Right. You're going to let me go?
Mistreated him in the 90s. Ryan coming here saying huge Michaels fan.
Yeah.
But the moment gets him as a, Obi-Wan saying you were my brother Anakin. That's huge, man. I mean, you're comparing that to Star Wars and just such an instrumental moment in wrestling for everybody. You feel the emotion.
Yeah. What about you?
Fantasy Hustler. What up? What's up, buddy? Gonna have him on for WrestleMania a little down the road. The Rock versus Austin from Philly. Keep the Philly tradition going.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, to me, Ric Flair, it's got to be the 80s. It's got to be, like I said, I've been diving into the Horsemen. So I'm loving everything I'm getting. I cannot have enough AWA, NWA, 80s wrestling is just, it's like an injection of life into my veins. You see him versus Steamboat, him versus Flair in the late 80s, and that's really my sweet spot.
Yeah.
So big fan of, and then, God, we could talk Ric Flair for 20 hours. 92 Rumble's the best with a tear in my eye. This is the best title. And we're talking off of, I did the research. He's more than a 16-time champion. If you take it all into it's like 30. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's the same thing. Go ahead. My bad.
No. Go ahead.
It's just like with AJ Styles today. He's like an 80-time champion, but it's just, that's what the WWE does. What do you think about HBK? I can give you, again, if I have
let's go to you first, because I think everybody already knows mine. So go ahead.
Yeah.
Because we go from rockers to 90s where he's a double Rumble winner to the 2000s where he's putting on clinics.
Yeah. Again, I can't pick an exact time of his career because I think his career obviously is, speaks for itself. It's Hall of Fame worthy. It's, 2 or 3 ring Hall of Fame worthy. So I'm going to go with the first match at WrestleMania with him going one-on-one with The Undertaker. That's one of my favorite moments just because, again, it's kind of like, okay, he's returning. He's back. He puts on a banger. He puts on probably absolutely the match of the year, probably the match of the decade at the end of the day here. So those 2 matches, the first one and the second one, phenomenal. Like you said, 2000, as much as obviously I, can go back and say the 80s and 90s, how he was the revolutionary of that kind of wrestling, taking it from big characters to, fast pace, HBK style wrestling when he was a young prime athlete. I got to go with the WrestleMania matches because I know you're going to go back in the day. So let's hear it. Yeah.
Well, like you said, 2007 Iron Man match versus John Cena on Raw, match of the year. 2008 versus Ric Flair, match of the year. 2009 and 10 versus Undertaker, match of the year. So 4 in a row. Here we go. This is what I like. Tony Jigsaw Cotillo, big shout out to him for bringing me on board. Ric Flair's 80 is a leak. JJ Dillon, Baby Doll, yes. Dude, this guy knows his history.
Yeah.
You got it. I mean, moments.
Yeah. Exactly.
Ric Flair's, you see rappers, you see sports athletes, gravitate to Ric Flair. As much as I say Hogan's probably up there on the Mount Rushmore, Ric Flair's done more for like sports than probably anybody.
Yeah. Mr. He's relevant. He's an icon. And that's why he's a pop star. I mean, again, like you said, like you alluded to, the rap songs, the music. I mean, he's a living icon.
All right. Now it's my favorite showstopper, Shawn Michaels of the 90s. A lot of people hate new generation wrestling, but I eat it up. I love from basically 92 to when he split off to DX in the 98 range where he hurt his back. That's me, Pete Shawn Michaels. Obviously wasn't the best face.
Yeah.
Didn't do well, but when you started DX and he was that cocky heel, he was basically himself on screen. I think I gravitated to him because I saw how good he was in the ring. Yeah. And then to show that character to me, that was on another level. And you're, elevating guys like Ken Shamrock, Owen Hart, even though he doesn't need it, Diesel, British Bulldog, all these guys, and still having pretty dang good matches. So I'll always be a Shawn Michaels mark, especially 96 to 98.
I mean, how can you not be? With that?
And that's the thing. You can't have a wrong answer with either one of these guys.
That's why I had to pick a moment.
All right, dude. Let's wrap it up. Time to do a little fantasy booking. Whoa!
Oh yeah! Fantasy booking. Dig it.
All right. I'm going to take the leash off. First episode, I said today's, this generation. I'm going to let you go any wrestler you want.
Okay.
Ric Flair in his peak, as you said. Who do you want to see Ric Flair face?
Yeah, I mean, I listen to his podcast, religiously. I love what he has to say, and he always has something nice to say about the Viper, Randy Orton. And in his opinion, I think he said, don't quote me here, that he'd rather see him, beat or break his 16-time reign as a champion. So I got to go there. I got to go Randy RKO Orton against, the legend, Ric Flair.
When you have the history,
Of
everything
course.
that's built up, to me, I'm sticking with the same kind of style. I want to see Triple H when he was, 03 Evolution as a heel. I loved it. I'd like to see, peak Nature Boy in the 90s versus
Yeah.
Ric Flair. I think
Yeah.
that would be, a story in itself.
Yeah.
How do you translate Ric Flair to today's wrestling? The Brock Lesnar's, the Roman Reigns, Kenny Omega. Would he fit in against a Lesnar or Reigns, or is it just kind of a different style?
I think he would be top. I would think he would be on top right now. I think he would be right
He'd
there.
have to be a heel, right?
Is there really a heel nowadays? I don't know.
They'd cheer for him, right?
Yeah, they would cheer for him. So I would see him right there with I was going to say Tom Brady. What the hell am I thinking? Right there with Roman Reigns, right there with Kenny Omega, right there with Will Ospreay. I think he's the top of the top when it comes to wrestlers, and I think he wouldn't have an issue in his prime, right? I think he would, put on clinics, hour matches, and it would be, great. If he was in his prime in 2020, 22, on top, no doubt in my mind.
I can dig it. Let's pivot to Shawn Michaels. The showstopper. Who is your dream matchup for HBK?
Yes. Protege going one-on-one with the teacher, HBK and Bryan Danielson from AEW. It doesn't matter what wrestling company he's in. I would love to see HBK go one-on-one with DB. I think it would be a great match because obviously he's definitely technical base when it comes to Bryan Danielson. And HBK, I don't know necessarily if he really taught him anything, but that's the story. Two different types of styles, but whatever. I'm going with the story. I'm going with the protege, the teacher, going one-on-one with the student, Bryan Danielson.
Exactly. I do the same thing. It took me like a good year with John Moxley or Dean Ambrose. I would say it every podcast.
Yeah.
I love your answer. I think that's the right one, but I think Shawn Michaels can wrestle at shoebox. So seeing him against Omega, seeing him against Punk, seeing him against AJ Styles, who we thought we would get.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So many wrestlers, it's so good. I just wish I saw more of Shawn Michaels from that 98 to 2002 range where he could have fought Kane, could have fought Triple H in his prime, all these guys.
Yeah.
But, dude, Wrestling Rewinds, Heat Ratio, Sports, the Wrestling Mat.
Yes, sir.
Tune in every Monday night. You get this. But let's shed a little light before we get out of here on the Universal Wrestling Podcast. I know you got big things dropping every other week.
Sir.
Whoa! Creative Control Writers, hit us with it, Nick.
Yes, sir. So we're dropping an episode tomorrow on the UW podcast, and that is at uwpod.com. I don't know what I'm saying. The Universal Wrestling Podcast. We're dropping an episode tomorrow with former WWE creative writer Chris Dunn. He was on for about 2 hours, so I said, you know what? Let's do 2 episodes. He's a great guy, a lot of good. It was a great conversation. You can find us on Twitter at the UW Pod and Instagram at UW Podcast. And like I said, we have a fancy website, uwpod.com.
Guys, just listen to the first 5 minutes and you will be hooked. This is a very underrated podcast, and Nick is a jack of all trades. What he does behind the scenes, on screen, it's ridiculous. Big props to him. Without his help, I wouldn't be who I am today. So thank you for your friendship, Nick.
Absolutely.
Let's preview next week. We've got Bret Hart versus the Hot Rod, Roddy Piper.
Yeah.
And we're going to get Ryan from Front Face Lock Podcast to talk this WrestleMania match. This is kind of around that time. Bret Hart's this is right before he elevates himself into those main event matches. So very interesting. And then you have Roddy Piper, which is I'd say your Hollywood. He's your Hollywood wrestler at the time. All the movies he's making, chew bubble gum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubble gum. Just some iconic 90s wrestling. I can't wait to have Ryan and
Yes.
talk wrestling. See, I'm even saying football. I can't help it. Thank you, Tony. Big shout out to you, man. That's what we're here for. Everybody loves a little blast from the past with wrestling. We're going to be hitting it hard and fast all month with WrestleMania content. And I'm going to carry that into April because we'll get the big showcase of Immortals, but there's so much wrestling to talk about.
Yes.
So you're looking for 2 months of wrestling content. Hey, we might even do a live stream of the Wrestlemania. Big props. Tony says, thanks, Nick. I respect and appreciate your wrestling knowledge. Definitely, Tony. Check out his content. Ryan's pumped for next week. And I'm pumped because we did it. No technical difficulties. And as always, it's been a pleasure. My treasure. Woo!
You know, go! Why don't you give it to him one more time? Woo! That's who's standing here today. Hold two. Arm bar. This is
Brett screwed Brett.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. And that's the bottom line because Stone Cold